Tonight we're going to have a lecture by Erik Novak. Yes. He is a young entrepreneur. He started his own business at 15. It's called Ideas Lux, Philanthropic Initiatives. And he finds fundraising solutions for nonprofit organizations. And he's a very gifted speaker and fundraiser. If you guys went to DSAR last year, yeah. He turned 60 pins into almost $5,000. So he is an alchemist, right? So without any further ado, I'm going to let him speak, and Carla's going to translate.
Hello. All right. Oh, this is very loud. So you make it. Oh, yes. This might be a little bit too loud, but nevertheless, it's a pleasure to be here with everyone. I'd like to go over a very small amount of disclaimers before we start. First of all, presentation might seem a bit clunky in the beginning because I'm going to have to do this first to switch the slides, but it'll be fine. And also, we're going to have translation into Spanish.
Está muy contento de estar aquí y que va a ser un poco chistosa su presentación porque va a ser así cada vez que necesite que le cambien en la diapositiva. Okay.
I have a tendency to speak faster. Good luck, Carla.
Thank you.
And one other thing, people are going to be coming in through these doors, so I might get slightly distracted by them coming in, but it's good because the larger the audience, the better the message that's being sent. So,
entonces va a continuar entrando gente y tal vez se distraiga un poco, pero es mejor porque mientras más personas haya, el mensaje llega a más personas.
So back. So without further ado, let's start. My presentation's title is What is Gained from Turning Negativity into Positivity, which was something that I was able to do via my company, as well as the power of Naam and the Naam community in general.
Entonces el título de su presentación es ¿qué se puede ganar de convertir la negatividad en la positividad? Y esto es algo que él logró a través de Naam y a través de cambiar sus pensamientos.
So, I'm a 17-year-old rising senior from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It's a picture of me at the sun.
Tiene 17 años y es de Rio de Janeiro, Brasil.
And basically, well, I'm very inexperienced. I'm much more inexperienced than all of you. This is one of the first times I've ever done anything quite like this. So,
dice que es poco experimentado y que es de las primeras veces que hace algo como esto.
You're all well inserted to your professions, whereas I'm more of a clean slate. I'm still learning. This is all a learning experience, but it's been an incredible experience and one from which I've learned so much that I feel it is important that I share it with you so that you all can get some of the mindset that I also got from engaging in it.
Ha fundado su propia compañía y dice que él sabe que todos aquí son muy exitosos en sus profesiones y que él todavía continúa aprendiendo, que ha aprendido mucho de haberse comprometido con esta iniciativa y que es todo un proceso en el que él continúa aprendiendo todos los días, pero del que ya ha aprendido mucho.
Wow. Anyways, so I look quite normal, but my story had its ups and downs in a more extreme way than many others my age. Primarily,
dice que se ve bastante normal, pero que su historia ha tenido muchos altibajos, quizá más que los de cualquier otra persona de su edad.
Technical issues happens to all of us. Am I right? Primarily, I started developing some intestinal issues that we really didn't know the cause of or the treatment for in my early teen years from ages 11 to 14.
Cuando tenía entre 11 y 14 años comenzó a desarrollar problemas en los intestinos, de los cuales no sabían el origen ni tampoco cómo tratarlos.
I divide this period in 4 specific sections. First, in 2011, when I first started having these intestinal digestive issues, basically my intestines started becoming much more inflammable, and I had to really start having a more rigorous diet to better have my digestion occur. Meanwhile, I really felt less energetic as a result of everything.
Entonces él divide este periodo en 4 etapas. La primera en el 2011, cuando comenzó a tener todos estos problemas. Básicamente lo que le acontecía es que sus intestinos se inflamaban cada vez con mayor facilidad y tuvo que cambiar su dieta y tenía una dieta como muy rigurosa que tenía que seguir y al mismo tiempo se sentía cada vez con menos energía.
Then in July of 2012, things got even worse because my digestion itself started becoming actually flawed, and I was having a hard time digesting things. My bowel movement, as it were, became very inconsistent, and my routine became much more rigorous. That's when I really started to cut down on all the nutrients that I was having to eat.
Y en julio de 2012 las cosas se pusieron aún peor, porque sus intestinos comenzaron a dejar de trabajar y el movimiento de sus intestinos se hizo cada vez más inconsistente. Entonces comenzó a tener problemas con los nutrientes que su cuerpo lograba absorber.
Then by November 2013, things got even worse because I started actually bleeding through my intestines, which was certainly a horrific experience which I wish upon no one, and it's something that stuck with me ever since. I actually bled 8 times between then and December 2014, which was when I actually finally started to improve.
Y en noviembre de 2013 las cosas se pusieron aún peor porque comenzó a sangrar en mis intestinos y desde ese momento y hasta diciembre del 2014 sangró en más de 8 ocasiones. Dice que es una experiencia horrorosa que no le desea a nadie.
And this all happened in the span of 3 years, which is a very long amount of time, and that's not to say that we didn't try to find treatment during those years.
Y todo esto sucedió en el lapso de 3 años, que es demasiado tiempo para estar enfermo, y no es que no haya buscado tratamiento, sino que simplemente no encontraba aún cómo tratar su padecimiento.
Which is to say, we attempted to find experts in Rio, and the treatment wasn't particularly great or effective at all. Then we went to another expert in Rio, and another expert in Rio, followed by an expert in Salvador, which is a city around 1,000 kilometers away from Rio. Then another expert in Rio, followed by another expert, this time in São Paulo, which is a city around 500 kilometers away from Rio. Yet nothing seems to work.
Y entonces comenzó a buscar tratamiento, buscó un especialista en Río y no funcionó. Después buscó otro especialista en Río, otro especialista en Río. Después fue hasta Salvador, que es una ciudad que queda a 1000 kilómetros del Río. Después intentó de nuevo con otro especialista en Río. Y después fue a Sao Paulo.
And the interesting thing about all of this is that with each specialist, my hope of finding a cure, of attaining a normal life, as it were, was lessened and lessened each time, because after 6 attempts, you start to really question the quality of the next expert that you're going to find. However, we did finally, thankfully, find the cure, and it came via 2 specific means.
Y después de haber consultado a todos estos especialistas, como que comenzó a perder la esperanza de encontrar al indicado. Pero finalmente, después de todo esto, en agosto del 2014 encontraron la cura.
While I only started showing specific improvement as of December 2014, since August 2014 I was already on the right track, such that from August 2014 to August 2015, I had a really miraculous year of recovery, and that impacted my general understanding of just myself and of the others around me. And this came because of 2 specific areas, which were finding medical treatment at Massachusetts General Hospital and also finding the power of Naam via Naam Yoga Los Angeles.
En agosto del 2014 y hasta agosto del 2015 fue un año de una milagrosa recuperación para él, y esta recuperación se debió básicamente a 2 factores: a que encontró tratamiento médico en el Hospital General de Massachusetts y en que entró en contacto con Naam Yoga a través de Naam Yoga Los Ángeles.
And the most interesting thing about all of this is that while the people at Boston, I understood the medical condition of what I had, which happened to be a different version of ulcerative colitis, which is essentially something that inflames the bowel if you don't treat it. And I had to and the treatment via them was simply 4 mezalazine capsules every night. Very simple for something that was so complex and had made me suffer so much beforehand. And via the Naam community, and this is a picture I believe from one of the DSARs in Los Cabos, which I shamelessly got off the internet. But let me shout then. Go back.
Ok, entonces lo primero que nos mostró fue como una foto de tratamiento médico que siguió en el Hospital General de Massachusetts, en el que solamente tenía que tomar unas pastillas para la colitis, que era lo que, o sea, el padecimiento que tenía. Y esta es una foto de uno de los retiros en Los Cabos, que fue el otro factor que ayudó.
I'll shout, it's more energetic this way. So, via the Naam community, I got access to a very powerful, united front of people that were able to help me. I think shouting might actually be better because it allows me to transpose my energy to people more. And it's fine if they're exceptional. I haven't yet. So, technical issues, guys, I haven't solved them. But, via the power of the Naam community, I was able to not just procure personal amelioration for myself, but also to find a group of people who are all rooting for me, and that's a very powerful thing indeed. And I felt the effects of that, not just in my health improvement itself, but also in my decision making, and the fact that I found treatment via Massachusetts General Hospital, and the fact that things were so fast and expedited and well done in general. It's something that really stuck with me ever since. It's the power of Naam in general.
Además del poder de Naam, encontró también el poder de la comunidad. Dio este apoyo de todas estas personas que estaban ahí apoyando. De todas estas personas que estaban ahí apoyando. Entonces esto fue un factor importante, no solamente para que ella encontrara el tratamiento médico a su padecimiento, sino también para que existiera el poder.
But how did this change me, as it were? It's interesting because having 3 years of difficulty followed by a year of recovery really does something to people. It allows us to actually become face to face with the things we suffered and how they're not really something we'd like to wish upon anyone, but actually things that have improved us as people as a result of what we went through. And it allowed me to become more empathetic, more caring, more sympathetic, a change maker as it were. And this light bulb represents this perfectly because the light bulb is a location of light. It shines on us, it shows us guidance, it shows us the way, and it's also open to new possibilities and new ideas. So, entonces la luz, la lámpara es un punto de luz que permite que nosotros consigamos enxergar más lejos, right? Sí, and this is basically the light bulb is a sea of possibility, which is something that I felt for myself after my improvement, and I really wanted to do something with that.
Dijo que este foco representa como un mar de posibilidades, que es este mar de posibilidades que se abrió frente a él una vez que comenzó a mejorar.
Essentially, to put it in a very simple, straightforward sentence, I was the change that I wanted to. I wanted to be the change that I wanted to see. And it sounds relatively cheesy and cliche, but it's quite true. I really wanted to see improvement in my community and in those around me, and this is not working.
Entonces él sintió el deseo de convertirse en el cambio que él quería hacer, no solamente para él, sino también para su comunidad y para todas las personas que están a su alrededor.
Which brings me to a very interesting quote, which I saw in a movie a few years ago called The Shawshank Redemption. It says, "Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies." And it really resonated with me because for many years I was feeling more and more hopeless each time. And it's a feeling that I wouldn't wish upon anyone. And it's a feeling that I want to combat in people who I've thought might feel it as well. And this is one of the things that drove me the most, bringing hope to people who may have felt hopeless in the past, and helping those who are doing that.
Y esto lo llevó a encontrar una frase con la que él resonó en verdad, que era la esperanza es buena, y la esperanza nunca muere. Entonces esto lo inspiró realmente porque estaba en un punto en su vida en el que cada vez se sentía más desesperanzado, y este es un lugar, es una posición en la que a él no le gustaría ver a nadie, y es por eso que se inspiró a intentar traer esperanza a todos aquellos que se sentían desesperanzados.
Essentially, it's serving, and
y pensaba hacer esto a través del servicio.
And it's something that I really wanted to do with my community, especially because of the community that I'm in and the driving force that it brought upon me. As many of you may not know, and many of you might, Rio de Janeiro is a highly socially unequal place where extremely well-off neighborhoods border with extremely impoverished ones. And this brings us, the more privileged people, face to face with the woes that people who receive half of a minimum salary, the woes that these people have in terms of medical access, educational access, social access.
Y entonces decidió servir a su comunidad y como ustedes tal vez lo sepan, él viene de Río de Janeiro, que es una ciudad con muchos contrastes, en las que la sociedad, hay parte de la sociedad que son personas muy privilegiadas y parte de la sociedad que tiene acceso solamente a un salario mínimo, que no tienen acceso a servicios médicos, que no tienen acceso a la educación, y entonces él decidió servir a esta comunidad.
And here you have a picture of Rocinha, which is a slum in Rio, perhaps one of the largest in the country, as well as Gávea, which is a very well-off neighborhood composed of mansions. And what's most interesting about that, this building right here is my school, which puts me even more face-to-face with, puts me even more face-to-face with my community, with the community that really needed the support that I was trying to provide to those who I felt needed it.
Esta aquí es una foto de Río. Este es un barrio de personas que no son tan privilegiadas y aquel es uno de los barrios más ricos de Río. Y lo que es interesante sobre esta foto es que ese edificio en el círculo ahí es su escuela. Entonces, por la ubicación de su escuela, él tenía mucha cercanía con toda esta comunidad y se dio cuenta que esta comunidad realmente le necesitaba.
Essentially, what I feel I was wanting to adopt, even though I may not have had the expertise with as smoothly as some you may have, was an entrepreneurial mindset. And if I could summarize the entrepreneurial mindset in 4 main points, it would be free thinking and dreaming, the ability to want change, even if it sounds idealistic at first. Problem solving, the ability to find a key problem, whether it's society or something, and actually going there and making sure that it's resolved. Finding a feasible resolution for it. Something that's innovative and original, and thus impactful. And finally, knowing that calculated risks may lead to failure, but as long as they're calculated, you will not suffer from them and you will be able to put yourself back on your feet and reach eventual success.
Entonces todo esto lo llevó a tener como una mente emprendedora. Una mente emprendedora que él definía en estos puntos, que es como pensamiento libre y la capacidad de soñar, tener la capacidad también de resolver problemas, identificarlos y proponer una solución, ser siempre innovativo y original, y tener riesgos calculados que, o sea, tal vez te lleven al fracaso, pero que si son riesgos calculados, entonces ya no sufrirás con ellos.
And this also reminds me of another quote, because I like quotes. It's insanity is continuing to do the same thing you have always done, in the same ways you have always done them, and expect different results. And really, it relates exactly to what I was wanting to do. I was wanting to do things differently, to really assist those, to be the change that I wanted to see, something that most people my age weren't really thinking about, something that I truly, deeply inside wanted to do.
Y esto lo lleva a recordar otra cita. Esta cita es, la locura consiste en repetir las mismas cosas de la misma manera esperando resultados distintos. Y entonces esto está relacionado con este deseo que él tenía de servir, porque él tenía este deseo de ser el cambio que quería ver, tenía este deseo de servir y de hacer las cosas diferentes. Entonces es así como comenzó todo.
Now, I didn't develop this out of the blue. It's a realization that I've come to after 2 years of work with entrepreneurship, and it's something that I'm still trying to develop through time. I've only been at it for 2 years, meanwhile some of you have been at it for decades, so I would like to know your thoughts on it after I'm done. I'd love to chat with you on this. But one of the things that also certainly helped me with this, with both developing my project and also with becoming a more efficient organizer, was yoga meditation, which is something that I'm pretty sure all of you are engaged with, and primarily with 2 different sets of meditative purposes. One for healing, which helped me with improving my health and improving both my physical as well as my mental health, and also one for leadership, which allowed me to influence others and be more inspirational to others as well.
Nada de esto sucedió de un día para el otro. Él desarrolló todo esto después de trabajar en ello 2 años. Él ha estado trabajando en esto durante 2 años y sabe que muchos de ustedes han estado trabajando en esto también por más de 10. Entonces él quisiera platicar con ustedes una vez que todo esto haya terminado. Y uno de los elementos que lo ayudaron a desarrollar todo esto fue su meditación de yoga. Y dijo que tenía 2 aspectos principales, el aspecto de la sanación y el aspecto de liderazgo.
I brought another quote since I like quotes. This one by Dr. Levy himself. It goes like this: serving others makes you glow like the sun. The sun does not refuse light to anyone. And it's a feeling that I hope all of us can have, and it's one that I've always been trying to achieve via what I've accomplished.
Y esto le hace recordar otra cita, esta vez del Dr. Levy, que dice que el servicio te hace brillar como el sol, porque el sol no le niega su luz a nadie. Y dice que él ha tratado de alcanzar este estado a través de lo que hace y de su servicio, y que es algo que nos desea a todos, que seamos capaces de brillar como el sol.
And so with all that, I decided to found my initiative, which was essentially a fundraising solutions initiative for different nonprofits, work with increasing the accessibility, increasing awareness that people have for indirect fundraising, that is raising money for something whose results you may not see immediately. I would like to work with NGOs with nonprofits that were able to give either medical assistance or wellness assistance to people in general, and I would like to impact and inspire as large an amount of people as I'd hoped for. So these were the three main pillars that I tried to follow with my initiative, which I called Ideas Lux, which is a play on Latin for ideas of light, and it goes that there are interesting ideas that inspire others, much like the light bulb that I mentioned earlier, which I've included here. The light bulb is open at the top because it's essentially an open pot for ideas, which is the main tenet behind my initiative.
Ok, entonces todo esto lo llevó a fundar su propia compañía que se llama Ideas Lux, que en el latín significa ideas de luz. Y básicamente a lo que se dedica es a recaudar fondos para apoyar instituciones sin fines de lucro que proveen de asistencia médica o de bienestar a las personas que de otra manera no tendrían acceso a esto. Es una manera indirecta de recaudar fondos y, dárselos a todas estas instituciones que se dedican básicamente a proveer estos servicios. Entonces dentro de su empresa está fundada en 3 pilares.
And I didn't really have the know-how to engage with my initiative as effectively as I could have otherwise. It's something that I had to learn through time and through specific immersions in the field. One of the most interesting immersions, the one from which I've gained the most, was something called the Global Citizens Youth Summit, hosted by Global Citizens Initiative, which I attended in August of 2016. And it really changed my approach to project creation and to engaging as large an amount of people in an interesting and impactful fashion.
Y todo esto le ha dado la oportunidad de participar en distintos eventos en los que ha tenido contacto con muchas personas que están en el campo de estas instituciones. Y uno de los eventos más interesantes a los que tuvo la oportunidad de asistir fue esta conferencia Global Citizens Initiative, en donde realmente le cambió la perspectiva sobre cómo comenzar un proyecto y cómo mover a un gran número de personas para que participen.
I brought 2 key insights from GCYS back with me. One is thinking outside the box, something I learned from a guy called Benjamin Zander, who is both the conductor at a Philharmonic Orchestra and also a keynote speaker himself. And he wrote this book called The Art of Possibility, and in the book he said, you shouldn't be afraid of dreaming, of thinking outside the box, because it's those who do things in a truly innovative and original way who are most remembered.
Y básicamente fueron como 2 mensajes los que recibió en esta conferencia. La primera es como atrévete, no tengas miedo de pensar y de soñar como fuera de lo normal. Y todo esto lo aprendió de Benjamin Sanders, que además de ser el director de una orquesta filarmónica, es un escritor y ha escrito este libro, El arte de la posibilidad.
Sí. Okay. And I also got design thinking out of this, which is an incredibly interesting methodology for project creation, where you really cut out all the unnecessary parts and focus specifically on client-oriented project creation that appeals to the needs of the clients with whom you're working and helps you really do something, get on a deeper level of engagement, on a level that's most impactful and thus more memorable. And you can divide it into these specific sections. I won't go into further detail due to lack of time, but I truly advise all of you to check into design thinking. It's something that I'm still learning about, but it will help you with every aspect, from professional project creation all the way to creating a dinner out with friends. It's an incredible system.
Y el segundo mensaje que obtuvo de esta conferencia fue algo que se llama design thinking, como diseño del pensamiento. Y es esta manera de pensar que te ayuda a mantener solamente lo importante, lo que realmente necesitas para desarrollar un proyecto, y se divide como en estas cinco cosas en las que ahora no va a profundizar, pero nos invita a todos a explorar un poco más sobre este método.
So, the first nonprofit with which I started working was called Operation Smile. It operates on cleft lip and cleft palate situations that people may have, and essentially they are, I wouldn't call it a deformity, but just a difference in their lip formation or in their palate formation that makes it harder for them to eat, to talk, to ingest food. It's both an aesthetic difficulty as well as a physiological difficulty.
Entonces, la primera organización con la que Ideas Lux comenzó a trabajar fue Operación Sonrisa. Operación Sonrisa se dedica a ayudar a todas estas personas que tienen labio y paladar hendido, lo que les dificulta comer, hablar y que también se convierte en una dificultad estética.
This also resonated with me specifically because for 3 years I had been unable to smile that much, and metaphorically speaking, because I was so unenergetic because of the situation in my intestines. Meanwhile, these children, they had the physical impossibility of smiling. And that's something that's much worse indeed than what I had, and it's something that really moved me to turn the system. So
una de las cosas que lo llevó a trabajar con esta organización y por las que le resonó tanto fue porque durante esos 3 años que él estuvo enfermo con los problemas del intestino, él no sonreía mucho, porque además se sentía sin energía. Y entonces tenía como esta dificultad para sonreír, y se dio cuenta que estas personas tampoco podían sonreír por una dificultad física, y esto lo llevó a sentir la necesidad de ayudarlos.
So I created a project. Essentially, I believe most of you know about food trucks. Who here knows about who here doesn't know what a food truck is?
¿Alguien no sabe qué es un food truck? Estos camionetos que venden comida.
Okay, there is one person. So it's basically a truck that sells food at specific events or on the street. Simple enough. And what I decided to do was a food bike because it requires less capital investment than a food truck. Yet it's also able to approach as many people in the form of specific clients that are buying food, and it would allow me to both sell the message of what I was trying to do as well as raise monetary funds.
Y entonces decidió, en vez de utilizar un food truck, utilizó una bici en la que vendía comida, y esto le permitía entregar el mensaje de, a la fundación a la que él estaba ayudando, y además vender la comida y así ganar fondos.
And I use the principles of design thinking here. Again, due to lack of time, I won't be able to go over them, but however, I would like to discuss them in further detail with any of you if you're interested.
Y para desarrollar este proyecto utilizó este método del diseño del pensamiento, que en estos momentos no nos puede explicar a profundidad, pero con mucho gusto.
It was a relatively successful initiative from the get-go. Why? Because of its impact and innovation, because I had dared to dream of something that seemed slightly idealistic, but that I was nevertheless able to implement. And because I did the sound enough job at it that people were satisfied with the quality of the food and the quality of the service provided. So I was mentioned in a few newspaper reports, which were great because they allowed me to further spread the message that I was trying to instill in people, which is that of change-making, that of empowerment.
Y fue mencionado en diferentes periódicos en Brasil, básicamente porque su proyecto era muy innovador, porque se había atrevido a soñar, porque se había atrevido a hacer algo que de principio parecía irrealizable, y porque además todos estaban muy contentos con la calidad de la comida y el servicio.
And I was actually invited last week to give a keynote at the Student Club's International Conference for Operation Smile in Rome, which this is a picture of me doing. So I was able to spread my message even further by inspiring those my age, which is one of the key tenets of my initiative as well. It's inspiring others to empower themselves and to know that every individual can also contribute change to their community.
Y hace una semana fue invitado a Roma a dar una conferencia básicamente a estudiantes de su edad, lo cual fue maravilloso porque le permitió entregar su mensaje a muchas más personas. Esta es otra de las principales iniciativas de su empresa, transmitir este mensaje y empoderar a todos esos jóvenes a que sueñen y a que se atrevan a hacer lo que él hace.
Another key initiative that I've engaged with in all my engagement really has been with the Naam community as well. When last year, during the Divine Spiritual Alchemy Retreat, I was asked to create a keynote speech similar to this one, but I felt slightly, how can I put it, mortified of doing it. Not necessarily because I wouldn't be able to speak well, but more so because I didn't know whether I'd have as powerful a message to send to people, since I was still in the beginning stages of my project and I really wanted to inspire people rather than talk to them about something that I had only started doing. So instead of giving the keynote speech, I decided to put a twist at it, and I did a fundraising campaign, again using the key tenets of both the entrepreneurial mindset as well as design thinking. And what I wanted to instill in people was that small donation amounts in a large enough quantity will still yield impactful community change. And so what I did,
Bueno, y otro de sus compromisos más grandes es con la comunidad Naam. Y entonces el año pasado le pidieron que diera una conferencia más o menos como la que está haciendo ahora. Y en ese momento sintió que hacerlo era un desafío más grande de lo que es hoy, porque todos sus proyectos estaban apenas comenzando y en realidad su intención era inspirar a las personas, pero no sabía cómo hacerlo si sus proyectos aún estaban como muy jóvenes. Entonces decidió darle un twist a esta situación y inició una campaña para recaudar fondos. Y básicamente lo que nos quería enseñar es cómo donaciones pequeñas en la cantidad suficiente se pueden convertir en un agente de cambio y de impacto importante en la comunidad.
So I decided to basically sell pens. It sounds relatively surprising for most of you who weren't there, but it was highly, highly effective. I essentially sold symbolic pens for $10 each, which is much more than what they would cost at a store. And the property of the pens was that they were supposed to represent, to symbolize a donation to the Naam House campaign, which was going strong, which was starting to go strong back then, to buy a Naam community in Los Angeles.
Entonces decidió vender plumas. Vendía plumas de manera simbólica a $10 y todos los fondos que recaudase iban a ser para comprar la Naam House. Y entonces comenzó a vender plumas y fue muy exitoso. Para muchos de ustedes a lo mejor suena irreal, pero sucedió.
These are a few pictures of me creating the initiative. Essentially, I had two bags, one in which I sold, one in which I had a very large amount of pens, and one in which I had the money. And I went around and I was bugging people and pestering them. For those of you who were there, you probably remember it very well.
Ahí tenía dos bolsas, una estaba llena de plumas, la otra llena de dinero, y entonces nos persiguió a todos toda la semana para vendernos una pluma.
And as a businessman that I was trying to become, I also used this opportunity to create a mailing list for myself by having people write their emails down while trying out the pen. So it worked like a charm.
Se ha convertido, además utilizó esta oportunidad para obtener una base de datos con el email de todas las personas que contribuían.
And it sounds idealistic, but I was able to raise $4,315 within the span of 48 hours, which is a very, very large amount for only one person doing one small thing for everyone. And it goes to show that we all have the potential to do something as impactful. And if we all act together, imagine how much change we're able to do ourselves.
Y básicamente durante esas 48 horas logró juntar $4,315, lo cual puede parecer irreal para una sola persona que estaba trabajando por todos los demás. Pero esto solamente es un reflejo de lo que podemos lograr todos en comunidad.
So, what did I learn from all of this? First of all, I learned that really no idea is limited. No idea has a true barrier. All barriers are psychological ones that you can overcome. And it's something that the Naam community has really helped me to achieve in all my pursuits. And what I also... Go on.
¿Qué es lo que él aprendió de todo esto? Básicamente, que no existen límites. Ninguna idea tiene ningún límite. Y es la comunidad Naam la que le ha enseñado esto.
And what I also learned was that I had improved my health substantially, really quickly, and that was already enough motive to be happy and to be interested in doing change. But it really wasn't enough for me, because I felt like with the extra amount of energy I had a very impactful experience, and I wouldn't want others to have that as well. And this moved me to become an even better version of myself, who truly wished to help those around him. And it's something that I learned, that you should always be in the process of improving yourself and to making yourself a better version of who you already are.
Sustancialmente, lo cual ya era una razón suficiente para estar feliz. Además se dio cuenta de que esta experiencia había sido
for me to print pens. So
bueno, como está muy ocupado con sus estudios, no pudo crear una nueva campaña para este año, pero con los $1,000 que ganó con este premio, pudo comprar una impresora que le permitió imprimir más baratas todas esas plumas, y está hoy aquí.
Okay, they say shalom in a very stylish way. I'm not going to sell them, however, I'm going to give them to you so that you remember the message that I'm trying to transpose to you, both of changing from the possibility of a negative mindset, which I had a very real possibility of, since I had just come from a rough time due to my intestinal conditions, and actually changing that into the positive mindset and the gains that you can get from it. So, I'll be around if you want one of these pens. I'm going to give William the first one. There you go, William.
Para que recuerden su mensaje cada vez que lo utilicen.
Yes, and I hope that you also, this is some fine product placement here, find it in you to donate some money to Naam House. You want it right there. And this is my contact info if you'd like to add me specifically on LinkedIn, because I'm trying to improve my connections there. And now, one final disclaimer. I don't know how long this presentation lasted. Originally it was supposed to be 20 minutes long, but I didn't account for the translation. And Carla's the real hero here. I don't know how you do it, Carla, but that was truly impressive. However, the presentation probably took around double the amount of time that was allotted for me, and I see Dr. Levry impatiently waiting back there. So, I hope you both absorb the message, and also I do apologize for this. So. Primarily from my drive to pursue it and my passion to see it through, I was awarded the Association of American Schools in South America award in March, and for this I'd like to specifically thank Francine, where is she? Because she wrote one of my recommendation letters for the award. So a round of applause to Francine.
Llegó a ser premiado por la Asociación Asociación de Escuelas Americanas de Sudamérica. En el 2016 ganó este premio y quiere agradecer especialmente a Francine porque le he escrito una de las cartas de recomendación que necesitaba para ganar este premio.
And while this might seem like I'm simply touting my achievements, it actually stands for much more than just that, because the achievement pales in comparison to the ability to propagate my message further, which is something that I was able to do via this award, and it's something that I'm being able to do right now with all of you watching.
Y básicamente no es que quiera como mostrarnos todo lo que ha logrado, sino que nos está contando esto porque todos estos logros le han permitido llevar su mensaje a más personas y le ha permitido también estar hoy aquí compartiéndolo con todos nosotros.
So, I think this presentation is going to be available to you. If it is available to you, there's also a video that explains my project even further if you're interested. And I'd like to remind you one final time of the quote by Dr. Levry, which I think most resonates with what I'm trying to do here, which is to really become a better version of yourself by trying to assist others in an empathetic and sympathetic way. And it's something that we've been actually discussing these last few days, so it makes it especially relevant for the discussions at hand here right now.
Y bueno, espera que esta presentación esté disponible para todos, si no pueden consultar ese link, ahí va a haber un video. Y básicamente todo se resume en esta cita de Dr. Levy, pero quiere que sepamos que el servicio nos lleva a ser una mejor versión de nosotros, una mejor versión de nosotros.